Castle with Spectrum Channel 4, and today I have with me Danae Edelin, who is the president of Nami for Brown County, who is going to be doing a regular show with us. Isn't that right?
Yes, I'm very excited about the opportunity.
All right, I understand that July 14th, that'll be about a month from now, marks a 5-year celebration for Nami in Brown County, right?
Yes, we will be having our 5th anniversary at July 14th at the Child Focus in Mount Orab. It will be an open house from 1 to 4.
Can you tell us a little bit about how Nami was founded 5 years ago?
Well, I think what's important for people to understand is when I had my psychotic break well over a decade ago, there was no Nami in Brown County. And Nami was really the lifesaver for me. Nami was the organization that helped me realize that I was not alone and that having a mental illness is a disease of the brain. And so I went through a very dark time before I found Nami. So I was determined that everyone in Brown County would not have to go through that dark night of the soul that I did. And that's how I founded Nami Brown County.
Okay, that sounds good. What are your plans for the celebration?
Well, we have a number of things going on for the celebration. We have a gentleman, the CEO of Nami National, Dan Gillison, is going to give us a congratulatory video and be available for Q&A. We have a professor of mine, after I had a psychotic break, do an introduction of me and the growth he's seen over me and Nami Brown County. We're going to have a military officer who's going to talk about why he's involved with Nami Brown County. And then finally, we're going to have a man from Canada talk about how Nami Brown County helped save the life of his son when he was in psychosis.
Would you mind, I'm just a little curious, would you maybe elaborate on that general you were talking about? Was it?
There's a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a soldier named Cliff Bauman, and he had his own suicide attempt after what happened in 9/11. And he was a speaker at an Ohio recovery conference, and I got connected with him. And I actually did an article about him. And so he's been participating via Zoom with Nami Brown County, the Nami Brown County meetings. And he's found it very helpful. And so we want other veterans to know that Nami can help.
All right, that sounds like it'll be something to listen to.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
In the last couple of years, Congress has made some significant changes with a suicide prevention line that will soon be in operation. Can you tell us why 988 is going to be so important for so many?
Yes, 988, right now, all mental health crisis phone calls go to the police. And not always do people need to go to the police. 988 addresses the systemic problems that mentally ill crisis calls are complex. 988 will have various components. It will have the suicide prevention hotline and warm lines. This is when someone is thinking suicidal or having those thoughts. They will have a mobile crisis unit so that a mental health professional can come out. There will eventually be mobile crisis centers where people can go, and then finally get filtered into the community. Right now, all those calls are just going to the police, and it is not the best use for people like me. We do have the crisis intervention team, what I talked about last time, that police officers are trained for people like me, but they only need to be when the family has exhausted all of their resources. So the mental health crisis can be the gamut from someone first thinking about mental illness to going into psychosis to needing to talk to somebody on the phone, to go to a crisis, have a crisis unit come out. It's quite complicated, and to put that on the shoulders of our police officers is just not realistic.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah. I'm sure police officers have a lot of quick response events that they need to respond to, and to split that with people that are more, I guess you could say, professionalized and just solely working with those who are suicidal. would be a big help.
Well, and I guess the distinction is someone that, being in a mental health crisis can be more than just suicidal.
That's true.
And sometimes a person can be in psychosis like I was and not understand that they are not, that there's something wrong in their brain. And so a mental health professional has much more experience with dealing with people like me for the gamut of mental health crisis. What you may not understand is, a lot of times there used to be a saying called crying wolf, when someone would talk about being suicidal. But the reality is that people who talk about a suicide and have multiple attempts are the people that actually die by suicide. So if we can catch them early, get them integrated into the behavioral health system, prevent them from having any more suicide attempts, and choosing life daily, like what we're going to be doing on July 14th.
All right. In the event that someone wants to dial 988, say for someone else they know that is probably planning on, ending their life, what do you think you can tell them that they can expect whenever they dial that number? What can they expect for that
As
person?
I said, there will. What exists today is a suicide hotline. What will exist will be and there is a mobile crisis unit. So if someone knows someone that's in that situation, then probably what makes sense is a mobile crisis unit would go out and talk to them and help them get out of that crisis of the moment, and then get them integrated into the behavioral health system. So suddenly there are going to be more resources to help.
All right. That sounds wonderful. That sounds like a big change.
It is. It's going to take transition and time, and I appreciate programs like this where we can promote awareness about 988.
For sure. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. What do you think are some of the most significant changes in the last few years that have made us more aware of the need for moving mental illness to the forefront?
Well, one of the things that's been very helpful is people like Michael Phelps and Simone Biles. These are professional athletes and movie stars that have come out and been open and candid about their mental health journey. And that makes it, that helps bust mental illness stigma and help people like you and me realize it's okay to talk about it. The next big thing that happened is because of COVID, we all had a taste of loneliness, depression, and even for some people, suicidal thoughts. And the problem with COVID was it was not just a one-time event. It's ongoing, and that's a lot like it's like to have a mental illness. So people have become more empathetic for people like me about having a mental illness. So that's what's really helped people become more open and honest and candid, and we as a society are talking about this now, which is really a great thing, because education is the key. Having a mental illness is a lot like having cancer decades ago. Before, nobody wanted to talk about it. But now, as we talk about it, we can strategize, we can find solutions, we can work together as a community to solve this problem.
All right. Yeah. It sounds like you're going to be kind of busy throughout the May month, I would imagine.
Right. We're doing all we can with regards to awareness with mental health. Yeah, so we're working with Nami, Ohio on that.
All righty. What are some of the first steps that a person who feels they're experiencing mental health issues should take?
Well, I think what's most important is for people to understand that they are not alone. And if they are having issues related to mental health in Brown County, we would like them to become a part of our NAMI Brown County Zoom calls. Those are on the second and fourth Thursday of the month, and I believe you have my email and phone number for people to reach out. And so I think we're going to get into that in a little bit. But that's everything is confidential, and it's a way for people to talk about where they're at with regards to their mental health.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sure I don't lose my place. All right. Once a person has seen a mental health care professional, and is starting to get their life under control, is there anything else they can do day to day to help with their own well-being?
Absolutely. One of the wonderful things about Nami is it has free educational classes. There are a number of classes. There's the Nami Brown County Zoom calls. Those are both for peers and for caregivers. And then there's a peer-to-peer class, which is an online 8 weeks class that teaches you about how to manage your own life. And then there's a family-to-family class, which is for a caregiver. So, education is really important. You learn a lot about mental illnesses. You learn about some of the typical symptoms. Like, for example, me, I have a tendency to go into mania, which makes me talk fast and things like that. But other people, medications make them slow down. And so there's a lot of good information that you can learn about your own condition. And the more you know about your own condition, the more you will feel in control.
All right. What would you recommend to tell people? Like, how would you recommend if they felt like they might have a mental illness they weren't aware about before, but they feel like now they're starting to realize they might have one? Who would you recommend that they go to specifically in this area?
Well, there are a couple of resources in this area. There is the Talbert House, and there's Child Focus. Child Focus is originated with children with a mental illness. So parents with children with a mental illness would want to get involved with Child Focus. Talbot House is more for adults. They have both, I go to the Talbot House. So I have a nurse practitioner and a therapist. And so those are some of the resources in Brown County. Obviously they can reach out to me as a start and we can get them connected.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add to our conversation today?
Well, when we were talking about the Nami Brown County Zoom calls, I think it's important to understand that everything is confidential, and we have about 12 Nami principles of support. And one of those principles are we see the individual first, not the illness. And that is what is critical. And people like me have a really hard time with mental illness stigma, feeling bad about themselves. And that loneliness and isolation and depression can lead to suicide. What they need to understand is they are not alone. And so 1 in 5 individuals wrestles with a mental illness, and every 11 minutes somebody dies by suicide. So this is a really serious issue in our culture, but people need to know there's life after a mental illness diagnosis.
That's right. If you feel like you might want to end your life for whatever reason, you feel like you're not worth it, just know that there's resources, as we've talked about today, for you to seek help. Even though you might think that there's nothing left for you, I'm sure that your family has a lot of hope in you, and they can see a bright future for you, even if you can't see it. So please, I implore you, go see the right people that you need to, see the people that Danae told us about today, and make sure you get some help. Alrighty.
Well said, Joseph. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, Mrs. Edelin, thank you for visiting with us today and shedding more light on the topic of mental health. For Spectrum Channel, I'm Joseph Castle, signing off.